Good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of TokYo-Yo. My name is T. Oh, it feels like it's been a long time since I made an actual video. I don't know. I've been really busy recently and quite frankly pretty exhausted. And I almost didn't make this video tonight because I'm just pretty lazy. And it's hard to make a video when you come home after work and play with your son, put him to bed, all that stuff. And then you just want Netflix and fall asleep at 8:30 p.m. Anyway, this is probably the last video I'm going to make before the end of the year. So happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, whatever it is you celebrate. I hope you enjoy it. This is going to be a top yo-yos of 2018 for me. I didn't want to just do a top 10 because I felt like there were more yo-yos that I enjoyed than just a top 10. So I'm going to kind of go through a bunch of different yo-yos that I really enjoyed this year, tell you what I think about them. Some of them I haven't reviewed yet, so you'll just have to wait for that at some point, but I'll kind of give a brief rundown of why I think each of the yo-yos I picked was worth it or how I got it and stuff like that. Let's turn the camera around and we'll get into my top yo-yos of 2018. The first yo-yo I'd like to mention is the Ting O. This is from B Nia, machined by Yoyo Empire. Really fun O-shaped titanium rings on a Delrin body, machined. It's just really perfect. Feels nice in the hand. Little finger spin area in the center here. One of the best fingerspin areas I've ever seen on a yo-yo, actually. It's got a nice step up in there for you performance style players. This one is not the most comfortable O shape, I think, because these rims are a bit hard, but they are rounded off, which kind of offsets that feeling a little bit, but a very fun, high performing organic. Let's go ahead and continue with the B Nia train here. We've got the Taurus. So this recently came out. This is a prototype version. This is machined again by Yoyo Empire and sold by B Nia. Right now it's in the prototype phase. There's also another person and company who helped design this. I'll go ahead and put the name down here. But this is really cool. This is like the copper colorway. I just absolutely love this color. It's so classy. I can't believe this is a prototype run. I really hope they keep this color in the final run. I know they mentioned that they were looking for a design that was more stable and long spinning, but I really enjoy this thing. It's 7075. It's got a really classic H shape. It's really flared out. It's a little bit wider than you might expect, just because of that feeling, or at least it feels a little bit wider because of that, you know, the big rim shape. Feels nice in the hand. It actually finger spins quite well. This area in here is actually really sloped, so it pushes your finger right into the center here. Very good for finger spins, and nice surface for grinds. And 7075 is the best. This has actually been a really good year for 7075, and a lot of the yo-yos that I'm really enjoying right now are 7075. So I think that 7075 is a metal that is sort of underutilized. I think a lot of people are looking at 7068 now. But I think 7075 has its place. It's durable, it's relatively inexpensive, and it just, it looks great. And it plays great. It's really fun weight distribution too. I guess since we're talking about Yoyo Empire, we'll go ahead and move on to another Yoyo Empire throw. This is the first Yoyo Empire that I ever reviewed on TokYo-Yo. This is the Big Bang. This is all Delrin. Has a Delrin ring in here. I don't know if that's actually does any good or if it's just for looks or what, but it's really cool looking. All the versions of this yo-yo are really nice. It's got the finger spin area in here, but you're gonna notice it's different from the Ting, the new series, which are actually like bowls. It's a little bit hard to see. The ones on the older runs of Yoyo Empires are flat. So this one actually guides your finger right into the center, and this one, it kind of spins around a little bit, but it works very well. This thing is just so fun. It's ridiculously oversized. I mean, look at this, it's nuts. In fact, the Ting fits inside of it like that, so it's pretty crazy. This thing is just so fun. I recently got it out. I don't know what possessed me to pull it out again, but I pulled it out and I was having a great time playing with this. It's not the longest spinner in the world, but it's really smooth, and this one's gotten a lot of damage on it, just for me dropping it and doing dumb stuff with it. But it grinds really well. It does the finger spins. It's just big and fun. You can't possibly miss the string because this thing is so massive. Again, comparing it to the Ting O, and look at it, it's silly. It's ridiculously oversized, and I love that about it. And this particular colorway looks really good with Bushido baby string, and it plays great with it too. So let's go ahead and continue with the Yoyo Empire train here. This is the Yoyo Empire Possess 2. This is a very interesting bimetal design. You've got one ring on here, and then there's actually another ring inside here. So this one's anodized as pale gold, I think it was called, and then the inside here is silver. Got the logo of the Possess 2. It's a very interesting kind of, I guess, H shape, you'd say. The ring here goes out, and then there's a little bit of extra area where there's a cut. I think this has a pretty decent step up, as you can see in here too. Just a little bit of nail vibe to this thing, so it's not the smoothest bimetal, but that's all right. I don't know how much good this inner ring does, but it certainly looks amazing. I love Yoyo Empire. They're always doing interesting and cool stuff, and I think their anodes always look really good. This one's a fade from blue to like a gunmetal gray blue, and it looks very, very cool. As you can see here, the colors fading into each other. Looks really nice. And it's one of those bimetals that actually plays really light too. So if you're getting a bimetal for specifically that really light, fast feel, this is going to be a good one for you. All right, let's switch up our companies a little bit. Now we're going to take a look at one yo-yo that many people probably know by now. This is the Magic Yoyo UY0 Node. I got this quite a while ago now, actually. It's a V-shaped yo-yo. It's got very similar specs to the N12 Shark Honor, so a lot of people think it's kind of a step up for that. I've got one of the original runs that's got the blasted part in here, and then this part is all glossy. I guess the new ones have all blasted all over, so I probably will try to get one of those this month that has all the blasted area. This colorway is absolutely incredible. You see yo-yos that are, you know, $100 that have anodes that are like this, but this just pops incredibly for being such a low price. This comes in around 10 to 20 bucks depending on the color you get. It's incredible because this thing plays amazingly. A little bit heavy, so that might be something that turns some people off, but I think for the price, and it actually plays really well, it plays really fast, it plays extremely smooth, great grinds, great finger spins too once you get used to it. And just the look of it and all the different colors and everything, this is a definite must-have, I feel. I don't know why it's not more talked about. But yeah, I really feel like more people need to be talking about this yo-yo. It's a really, really incredible value. It's only around 10 to 20 bucks. It plays amazingly well. It looks incredible. And, you know, if you break it or ding it around, you know, it's not that expensive. You can grab another one, but this thing absolutely rules. Let's continue on with the Magic Yo-Yo Stealth. This is in a few different runs from Magic Yo-Yo. Loving this green colorway with the blue rims here. This one has a ding on it. Yeah, you can see right there. Accidentally threw it into my wall. It's not the smoothest bimetal, and it wasn't when I first got it either, but in the Yo-Yo's defense, it, you know, took that hit to the wall, and it's still spinning really nice. I guess that's a 7075 for you. Nice little soft step up in the middle there. It is a little bit uncomfortable on the catch. I mentioned that in both reviews that I've done of this. So both runs of this, I feel like the rims are a little bit sharpened. They don't feel the best, but it's a budget bimetal for around 40 to 50 bucks. You really can't beat the price. The new colors are absolutely incredible. And if you're looking for a bimetal feel without breaking the bank, this is the way to go. Now getting into the premium high price bimetals, you've got the Wolfgang 7075. Again, just like the Stealth, this is a 7075. This is the second version. The original version of the Wolfgang was regular 6061. Now, this is one of my favorite bimetals of the year. It's durable as heck. I have dropped this on the ground and it hasn't displayed any extra vibe, so that's absolutely incredible. Again, probably 7075 for you. But the other thing is, this thing is not the smoothest, and I feel like for a $100 bimetal, it should be smooth, and it's not. It does have some nail vibe to it, which bothers me, I'll be honest. Vibe doesn't really bother me that much if the yo-yo's cheaper, but this is more expensive, and I feel like it should be smooth. That being said, I also am not as big of a fan of the shape. If you put this next to the original Wolfgang, this one is slightly narrower and a little bit sharper feeling in the hand. When I do get around to reviewing this, I will talk about that, but I don't think it's quite as good as the original Wolfgang. At least maybe I don't enjoy it as much as the original Wolfgang, but I feel like it plays better and it is better than the original. So it kind of just going to depend on what feel you're going for. I'm a huge fan of Duncan Yoyos, but none of the Duncan Yoyos really blew me away and continue to blow me away as much as the Hamaker X. This thing is absolutely fantastic. Based on a design I believe they got from a designer in China, very different from the original Hamaker. These rims are massive and polished to shiny perfection. They look absolutely beautiful. The engraving is on there as well. No sense of a step up in here. It's a very, very smooth little drop to the response. Inside here is very, very nice and flat. No, great engravings getting in the way or anything. They're on the rim, which looks super, super cool. Just a very understated and yet really cool looking design at the same time. I mean, understated in the way that it has no engravings that really pop, except for these. But the colors are really good, and these rims just explode, and this thing feels super powerful. This is one of those bimetals that feels incredibly strong. A lot of people talk about the Grasshopper X being, one of the fastest bimetals there is on the market. This feels like the more chill counterpart. It feels like it has more power to it, but it's also a bit more deliberate, which I really enjoy about this. This is one of my favorite bimetals of all time. Speaking of bimetals, let's get into SF here. This is the Bliss. This one was sent to me, I think, as a B grade. You can see on the rims here, there's some wear, little grinding, some marks there. You can, oh yeah, there you go, they're showing up. I don't know if it's a B grade for vibe or not. This does have a little bit of vibe to it. I've heard people say, though, that SF just has a little bit of vibe. I don't know if that's true or not. I have tried the SF BFF. That was the SF and Corco, I believe, collaboration. I've tried the SK, and I have a Cadence as well. And I think this is probably my favorite thing that SF has, that I've played, that SF has put out. Very interesting inner part here. Nice wide shaped yo-yo, very flared out and comfortable for a V shape. This part in here is great for finger spins. The rainbow colorway looks absolutely gorgeous. I don't think there's enough clear yo-yos out there, or at least people don't appreciate them as much, I think. And with the rainbow rims, the clear looks absolutely fantastic. Very powerful bimetal, very fast, very long spinning. One of the most powerful bimetals I've played with. And, different than the Hamaker, this thing feels a lot faster and a lot more, I guess, out of control, you would say. It feels like it's a little bit harder to control for someone like me, but for someone who can really push yo-yos, this is going to be pretty much the pinnacle of the bimetal market. We're going to get into a couple yo-yos from different countries here. This one is from Yoyo Osiris, which is a yo-yo store that is a little bit independent from other companies, but they designed this one. It's very reminiscent of the Orca from COYW. I've played that as well, but I feel like I prefer this, and it's way more inexpensive. And I don't know, when I first got this, I wasn't sure. I didn't really know anything about it besides the fact that they were sending one for me to try out. This thing is incredible. It's very, very wide. It's got the little nub in here. It's got little tiny engravings. This is called the Symphony. And you can see here this ano is really, really cool. This splash, maybe, yeah, it looks like a splash here. And it's very, very quiet. It's incredibly smooth. Not the longest spinner, but I really just love the shape. I love this flared out W. I love how wide it is, and just how it's got a great character to it as well. Like, it's got these really big, thick rims. I have mentioned in the review that it doesn't spin quite as long as I wish it did. It does get better over time. I feel like this thing, the comfort and just the fun of the way it plays is more important than how long it spins. And plus, I mean, all yo-yos spin for way too long these days anyway, so that's not really that much of a concern. Love the Symphony so much. In fact, this is probably one of my top 5 of all year. Another yo-yo from an independent company here. You have this one. This is from Capitals and Dr. Toys. And this is the Lanthanum. This is a really, really fun yo-yo. This is a brown with a red and white splash. It's got a really cool bowl inside here. Again, the Lanthanum, you can see there, the engravings are on the edge, out of the way. It's kind of a V shape here, but it's cool that the V shape sort of is rounded out rather than sloped in, so I feel like it has a really different, unique feel to it. A little bit heavy on the string, but nothing too crazy or anything like that. It does give you a sense of power. Love the color so much. It turns into this brownish gray when you throw it. And yeah, again, it's got a lot of character, like the Symphony. These yo-yos that are coming out of these other companies from, Indonesia and Malaysia and stuff like that have these really, really incredible feels to them, and they have a lot more personality and character than the yo-yos coming out of bigger companies like, you know, Yo-Yo Factory and stuff. I think they make fine yo-yos, but a lot of their yo-yos don't really have that much personality. They feel a little bit like cookie cutter and boring to me, where these yo-yos feel like they have tons of character and personality because they're pretty unlike other stuff on the market. Next up, we've got the South Peak from Singwan Yo-Yos. Oh my gosh, I love this thing so, so much. This, I don't know, I could keep raving about this thing. 7075, glossy look to it, almost like a mirror finish. It's got this huge bowl in here that is fantastic for finger spins despite the glossy nature and despite this engraving. I mentioned in the review, this engraving is wonderful because it actually tells you when your finger spin is off center. So usually it kind of spins around like that, and then once you start getting too stiff or something, it goes around and you feel that on your finger and you're like, oh yeah, I'm not doing it right. And once you recenter it, it goes back to spinning like that. I just love this thing so much. It's got one of the best sounding responses I've ever heard of any of the yo-yos I own, which makes it a real pleasure to play as well. It's a little heavy on the string, but Singwan has mentioned, we've talked about this before, that they prefer yo-yos that have more power to them, and I think a lot of their players prefer that as well. So it's that's not a problem or a knock on the company. That's a, you know, deliberate design choice, and I think it works fantastically for the South Peak. All right, we're getting into our last few yo-yos here. Let's go ahead and take a look at another company that I've only just recently gotten to start trying. We're going to take a look at CLYW. This is the Puffin. I think this is the third run of the Puffin, the third version. It might be the second version. I'm not 100% sure. This is the Puffin by Paul Gudmundsson. I hope I said that right. Yeah, very popular on Instagram. I think he does some organizing of some contests, which is really cool as well. This is a very fun, very wide yo-yo. I wasn't expecting that. Very, very flared out WH shape. Interesting way to look at the response here. You can see like the step up goes way, way out. This thing is fantastic for grinds. Wonderful finish on it. One thing that was not the best is this came with the bearing completely locked up and responsive, so I had to switch out the bearing. And it did feel like the axle was a little bit messed up, so I did get it tuned perfectly smooth, but I'm afraid to ever take it apart again because I think it might strip if I do that. But as it is, it plays perfectly. I really love this, and this was one that wasn't even on my radar at all. I didn't know anything about the Puffin at all. So when I got this as a gift from someone, it was really kind of them. They sent me this in the Compass. I had no idea I was getting this, and it just plays wonderfully. It became my favorite CLYW for a long time. Still in the CLYW, we're going to be taking a look at another one of my favorite yo-yos right now. This is the Borealis 2. This is Zach Gormley signature. This thing is so, so fun. And I'll be honest, I did not like this when I first threw it. I got this borrowed from Jonathan Lee, and I did not like it when I first threw it. It felt weird to me. It was overhyped by many, many, many people to me. So I was really expecting a lot. And when I threw it, I was like, oh, yeah, that's it, really? This is a yo-yo that really takes a long time to grow on you, I think, because at first it feels a little samey. It doesn't feel that special or anything, but the more you throw it, one thing I really noticed is the hand feel of this thing is fantastic. Every single catch on the Borealis 2 feels wonderful. It just feels like, I don't know, it feels like it's perfectly shaped for my hand. Every time I catch it, it's just an absolute joy. Even on really rough binds, I never have to worry about this thing. It feels wonderful every time, and that's one of the best things about it. Not only that, it's got a really, really nice stable feel to it. It throws really smoothly as well. This is actually pre-owned by someone else, so even so, it's still dead smooth. I should have mentioned that about the Puffin as well. The Puffin is dead smooth. And the finish and the colorway on this, the Beach Party, it's just absolutely gorgeous. I love the Borealis 2. It's one of my yo-yos that I take with me absolutely everywhere. Next up, we're looking at one of my absolute favorites. This is the Manatee. I've been waiting to get my hands on this forever. I'm so happy that I finally got one. This one is Riccardo Fraellini's signature. He's one of my favorite players of all time, up there with Jonathan Best. I think his style is absolutely insane and cool. This is a super wide yo-yo. I'll put it next to the Big Bang here. The Big Bang is still bigger, which is just hilarious. But you can see next to yo-yos like the Ting O, Still wider than that, especially next to the Borealis 2, definitely wider than that. So it is known as a super wide yo-yo, and maybe by today's standards it's not as wide as it used to be considered, but I think because it has this very flared out shape, it strikes you as very, very wide right off the bat. And actually the Symphony is very similar. The Manatee still has just a little smidge of wideness on it. Width, I guess, not wideness, it's not a word. But this thing feels fantastic, it plays fantastic. It's super, super smooth. I've taken it apart, put a new bearing in it, and the colorway, the berry melt is gorgeous. This thing looks really cool when it's spinning. The side's blue, the side's purple, so it actually looks half swapped when it's spinning, which is just super awesome. One of my top 3 of the year, CLYW, this yo-yo made me absolutely fall in love with you. And I love that the colorway lets you see the signatures and stuff. Sometimes you get unlucky and you can't see the engravings. This one, I got lucky. All right, we're almost down to the last couple throws here. This is the Crucible. This is from Smashing Yoyos, a British company. This is known for being extremely light. I think it's around 50 grams. Oh, I've got a big knot in there. But this thing is an organic. It feels undersized, but it's not. It's right, you know, maybe just undersized just a bit. But the crazy thing about this is that it's 7075 and it's super, super light. So it's like an absolute joy to play because you never have to worry about how it's gonna feel, even when you have a really terrible bind. Sorry, I can't stand this knot. I'm gonna deal with this. All right, I guess that's one way to do it. Yeah, so you can see that there's no step up here, just goes straight down into the response. The bearing that came with it is absolutely fantastic. This one actually dropped on the ground as well from pretty high up, and it made a terrible sound when it hit the ground. Not a single mark, not a hint of vibe. This thing is one of my favorite yo-yos of the year. I love how organic it is. I love how small it feels. I love the weight of it is super, super light. There's just nothing else like it on the market. Maybe not the most, you know, performance oriented, but for fun, you can't beat it. I do recommend a thinner string for this. I use the Rhapsody string from, I think this is Rhapsody from Zipline, and it's just thin enough and performance oriented enough that it doesn't snag at all, because this can be a little snaggy. And last but not least, probably my favorite yo-yo of the year, the Smashing Yoyos Float. So this was designed by Andrew Bergen in conjunction with Smashing Yoyos and the Scales Collective. You can see here it says Float, and then it says on the other side, Smashing Yo-Yo Company and Scales. This is, I don't remember what they call it, the Landscape Fade, I think, blue and green fade. This is another 7075 yo-yo. This one is 59 grams, so it's very, very light. This is probably my favorite yo-yo of the entire year. So it's very cool because it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Crucible here, because it is on the lighter side. Definitely not as light as the Crucible, but very, very light and very performance oriented. Even though it's only 59 grams, this thing plays like a bimetal. The weight distribution is perfect. The hand feel is perfect. The weight is perfect. You barely feel it on a throw. To be honest, this is what I wish the G2 Elite played like. It's a V shape, it's on the lighter side, but this thing is just so much more comfortable, so much more playable feeling. I like the look of it way better. This is how I wish the Elite played. And I don't know that I can find a yo-yo better than this. I think it's pretty much as close to perfection as you could get a V shape. It's just super comfortable. The lightness really, really complements the shape, and just everything about it is like unobtrusive and comfortable and smoothed off. It's perfect. The stability and the spin time, this thing is fantastic. You've got to get a float. Exquisite. I have to say, these are the 4 yo-yos that are in my bag every day now. I have a little Duncan bag that holds 3 yo-yos, and then I have my one on my belt, and these are definitely the yo-yos in my everyday rotation right now, pretty much without fail. I almost always have this on my belt. I rarely get these out. Usually if I have the float with me, it's the only thing I play with. But just, you know, for the sake of change, I usually have the Borealis 2 with me, and I love the Manatee. I would hate to not bring it with me, so that's really fun. And the Taurus is just so different and fun and unique that I feel like it's a crime to leave it at home. When I'm looking to switch things up, usually I'll bring either the Ting O if I'm looking for something super O-shaped, or the Puffin as well. That's really nice to have, but usually if I bring the Manatee, I don't bring the Puffin with me. When I'm feeling like switching things up, I usually bring the South Peak of the Lanthanum with me because, like I said, they've got so much personality and character. It's nice to bring them out because there's nothing quite like them, so they feel really fun when you bring them out, and they look awesome too. And then if I'm feeling like I want something really performance-y, I will bring out either the Wolfgang, although I haven't played it with it very much since I dropped it. I think I've been afraid that I'll dislodge one of the rings. Not that that would happen, I don't think. If it would have happened, I think it would have happened already after dropping it. But yeah, the vibe bothers me a little bit, so I don't always bring it. The Hamaker is definitely one that I like to bring out when I'm looking for a powerful bimetal. And the Bliss 2 is just so close to perfection that you really can't beat it. It's just, it works no matter what you want to do with it. That's T's top yo-yos of 2018, I guess. And like I said, these are all the yo-yos that I kind of play with more than any of the other ones I play with, so I don't really think there's any like best yo-yo or like this is the best yo-yo you can get or anything like that, but I think these are the ones that have seen the most play for me this year. And I specifically didn't go and look at my video for 2017 because I didn't want to affect what I said in this video, but I'm sure it's quite different than my last video. I bet all my preferences have changed. I'm afraid to go back and look at that. Anyway, let's not worry about that. This is 2018 and a lot of you guys asked for this video, so here you go. Anyway, boys and girls, I think this will be the last video for 2018, but I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much for liking, commenting, subscribing. Let's see if we can get to 2,000. I've got the 2-year anniversary of TokYo-Yo coming up in February on the 18th. So if we could get to 2,000 subscribers before then, that would be pretty awesome. And I'll do some sort of big giveaway for it. So do what you can, share with a friend, let them know if they're into yo-yos. Let's grow the channel. I've been kind of hitting this 1,850 something spot for a long time, so let's see if we can boost the numbers a little bit. I'm counting on you guys. Like I said, happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have a wonderful end of the year. I hope your new year is also awesome if I don't see you before then. Take care, have a nice day, and sayonara.